Okay.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 6th Coffee Club. Really excited for tonight's event, but I'd like to first of all just hand over to Rabbi Joseph just to open tonight's Coffee Club.
Thank you so much. You know, I think I've been to more places during lockdown. You know, people, you know, have a pandemic, tour the world. I think it's been these events have been incredible. We have learned so much, so many amazing things are out there that there's the never waste a crisis, as someone once said to me. And I think that this has been such an incredible event that we have launched for the shul. The people who have spoken, the things we have learned about and seen have been truly phenomenal. And I have no doubt that tonight's trip to India will be just as valuable and insightful and incredible. The best part is there's no jet lag. You don't need to worry about home affairs and your passports. Other people have taken. We can just sit back, put our feet up, and relax and journey the world. You know, there's a beautiful insight given by our sages that explain and say, you know, Hashem created the world and we need to appreciate its beauty. One should tour the world, one should see the world in order to appreciate its beauty. And you know how it's impossible for one to travel around the world and to see everything. But I think by doing these events, we are able to really see Hashem's beauty in the world and to see so many incredible places. So thank you to our organizers. Thank you to our very special speaker tonight. And I know there is a great prize at the end. So don't go anywhere. And just thank you all so much for attending. Thank you to the organizers again. And I'm looking so forward to tonight. And I'm not sure who's talking next, but
Right, so thank you, Rabbi Joseph. Just in terms of tonight's program, so Steve's going to start with his talk. I think we are very excited. This is actually the second in our travel series. And Steve's going to be talking about India, exploring its rich Jewish history, culture and traditions. So looking forward to, if anybody else has done any awesome trips to some exotic places and you'd like to take us on a journey there, please contact Noah or myself. And then after Steve's finished talking, then we'll hand over to Noah, who will draw the prize and also tell you a little bit more about the 2 speakers that we've got lined up for the next 2 weeks. So Steve, over to you.
Great, thank you, Aideen. So just to say thank you to you, Aideen, for inviting me and asking me to talk tonight as part of the Coffee Club travel series. So of course, you know, travel is a very big thing to me and I really enjoy it and I love talking about it. I've decided to talk about India tonight, as you've seen in the poster, and talk about its rich Jewish histories, cultures and traditions. And I'd like to share my journey with you. India has a population of over 1.3 billion people, and it's the second most densely populated country in the world. They have over 30 official languages, so you'll find a lot of people speaking different languages just as you're walking around. There are about 170 million Muslims in India, and the rest are made up of Hindus, and there are about 1,500 Jews that are left in India. India is not your normal destination that you would see. It's not something you would put onto your bucket list. And I'm sure that most people who go to India really go there on business. So for me, the reason I went to India was on a business trip. I attended a conference in a place called Goa in 2017. And then from Goa, then went on to Mumbai and experienced the city, the people, and exactly what's happened. So, you know, with any of these business trips, they kind of get lonely when you go on your own, and tour and move around is not so easy. So where possible, Wendy actually comes with me. So she came on this tour of India with me, so it made life a lot easier for me. For those of you who know or don't know Goa, so Goa is a state in Western India, and it's on the coastline stretching along the Arabian Sea. It has a long history of Portuguese colony prior to 1961, and it's evident when you see all these churches that have actually been really well preserved that are all over Goa. Goa is what can I say, is famous for its tropical spices and its beaches. And the most popular stretches of beaches are from Baga to Polanium. And there's also a very nice laid-back fishing village, which we visited as well, and that's called Agondo. Many Israelis make their way to Goa after they get out of the army, but unfortunately, a lot of them really just get onto the wrong path. So like I said, it was good and rich in spices, but I think there's a lot of growing of weed and other things there, and they get really involved in that. So to counter this, the Chabad have opened up a Chabad office there, and they really look after the Israelis and try to get them all back onto the correct track. The resort itself that we stayed in is about 2.5 hours from the airport. We got into this taxi. Now, we had heard about the Indian taxi drivers, but we didn't realize how bad they really were. This guy drove like an absolute lunatic. It took us less than an hour and a half to get there. Now, when you go on these roads in India, there's just motorbikes, animals, people, there's just everything. And there this guy had to avoid hitting them. It was pitch dark. Could hardly, I mean, I'm looking out and I'm trying to help him, well, not help him, but say, where the hell is he going? And you could see absolutely nothing. And then I get this nudge in my side from Wendy, and she says, please tell him to drive like a human being. I said, I'm not interfering with this guy because, you know, he can just drop us off in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, I think he must have heard us because we saw quite a few speed humps, and he really went over these at twice the speed. I think he just wanted to tell us, listen, just keep quiet and enjoy the journey. When we arrived at the resort in Goa, the first thing we did is put our stuff down and was straight to the bar. I needed a beer or something just to calm my nerves, and this is totally out of my character. When we actually got to the front where the reception is, we started to find a lot of the guys arriving came for the conference, and all of them had been through almost the same experience as we'd been through. So they were also quite shaken up a little bit. So we sat down and we spoke about our experiences. We had a few beers and we were really on top of things. We then had the guy come talk to us from our Indian agent, and he gave us a little bit of a talk about India and the things that you should do and shouldn't do. And the one thing he warned us about was the actual water in India. The water is filthy, filthy dirty. So if you shower in the evening, you actually must take a shower and then wash your hands and wash your face with bottled water. Otherwise, you will get sick. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take you and show you a few pictures of Goa. I'll show you exactly what we experienced there. Okay, so this is a typical, in Goa, it's a typical fast food place. So if you want to get something to eat, you go out there, and this is like meant to be a classy place. This is one of the shopping centers there. This was a little bit early in the morning, so not many people around. But again, you'll see.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Steve. We can't see any pics yet.
Oh, you can't? Sorry.
Okay,
Okay, let me get back here. Sorry. Can you see the pictures now?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is the fast food outlets, very popular place where people go and have something to eat. This is the main shopping center that was there. It was a little bit early in the morning, so not many people around. You'll see from the picture on the left, again, people all just come along on their motorbikes, and that's where they stop over. Again, here is a supernet, and this is quite popular. So everybody with their cell phones, they come in here and buy their SIM cards or charge up their phones. This is a typical residential place in Goa. You can see it just doesn't look like one of the greatest places. Now, when I first was told that we're going to Goa, I first thought to myself, hey, this is going to be like, you know, these places that you find in the Mediterranean, but certainly was nothing like that. Yes, Wendy's standing around there. She was looking for something to buy. What you'll notice in India is the colors. They have there's no like set fashion or the set color. There's just so many different colors there. And here's obviously just a picture of the main beach. And again, you know, when you go down to the beach itself is really, really beautiful. But unfortunately, you're not quite sure what's in that water because of a lot of their traditions and the way the Hindus actually burn the dead, and then they actually filter everything back into the sea. You kind of get a little bit worried if you should or you shouldn't be swimming there. Okay, from Goa, we then went off to Mumbai, and the opposite happened to us with the taxi. Wendy again told me, tell the guy to drive like a mensch. So I kindly asked him nicely if he could drive slowly, and which he did. And then just before we got to the airport, there was a huge accident. So we were stuck in a traffic jam. So we almost missed our flight to Mumbai. The actual airport itself is packed with people. You've never seen so many people. Luckily, they separate the men from the women. So the men go one side, the women go the other, so they don't get these men shoving them and pushing them. But it really was an experience just to get through the airport. When we got out of the airport, we then went into a section where you catch a taxi, and these taxis are tiny. You can hardly fit two people in one taxi. But then we said to the guy, how are you going to take our luggage? He said, no problem. He just plonks it right on the top of the roof. No roof carrier. He ties it with a bit of string or maybe a little bit of rope. I'm not quite sure. And he says, we're ready to go. As you're driving, it is hot like hell. He says, would you like aircon? Sure, we love aircon. Okay, cost you more money. So we give you more money, and he puts the aircon on. He says, is that good for you? It's still hot as hell. So you say, turn it up, more money, he turns it up. So while we were driving to our hotel, it was really, really cooking hot. So he said to us, I'll tell you what, I can help you out. We can take you over the bridge. It's a lot shorter and a lot less traffic. So this is actually the bridge that we were taken over. The first question is, how much is it going to cost us? It cost me almost 1,000 Rand to pay this guy to take me over the bridge. But I tell you what, in the end, it was worth every single cent. Mumbai itself has a population of over 18.4 million people. I'm almost sure we bumped into half of them because there's just people everywhere. Wherever you go, there's just people. Mumbai itself has the highest numbers of billionaires and millionaires, and it is home to about 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites: the Elephanta Caves, the Chapatri Maharaj Terminus, and the city's distinctive assembly of Victorian Art Deco buildings. What you see here on the left-hand side is what they call the Gateway to India. It was built by the British, and that was in 1924. It is located on the waterfront at an angle opposite to the Taj Mahal Palace and the Tower Hotel, and it overlooks the Arabian Sea. Today, the monument is synonymous with the city of Mumbai, and it is amongst its prime tourist destinations. You will always, when you take a walk on there, you will see people sitting there selling things. buskers, anybody who's trying to schnorr a few cents from someone who's sitting there on this gateway. This gateway is also synonymous with us Jewish people, because every year, when it comes to Hanukkah time, they actually light the Chanukiah there, and that's been happening since 2003. And that ties up with the date that the rabbi who started the Chabad, he arrived in India in 2003, and that's what he set up for Hanukkah. Unfortunately, on Wednesday, the 26th of November 2016, 10 members of an extremist Pakistani terrorist group landed at the gateway to Mumbai and carried out 12 coordinated shootings, bombings, and attacks, and killed at least 174 people. Unfortunately, that was when the rabbi and his wife, his pregnant wife, was actually killed during this attack. But I'll talk through that a little bit later in the presentation. As I said, one of the heritage sites is the Elephanta Caves. So again, being a little bit from, it's always an issue if you can or you can't visit a lot of these sites. A few of the rabbis that I'd spoken to had said, no way, cannot go visit them. It's Avodah Zorah, so it's idol worship. You should rather not go. But this was something that we really wanted to do. And where there's a will, there's a way. We found a rabbi who gave us a heter. Not so easy that we just got the heter. We had to tell him what it was all about and what happens there. And after he'd done his investigation, he came back and said, you're free to go. It was really the most amazing experience. To get there, you just get on a ferry. It's about a 10-kilometer ride. And then you walk quite a distance, or you can catch, they have this old rickety train. You catch the train and then you arrive and you walk down quite a steep hill and you get into these mountains. Or you actually get well into these caves. This is the railway station I was talking about. Again, unfortunately, also one of the sites that were attacked by the terrorists. This is just typical what Mumbai looks like on a normal day. The guy on the left-hand side, it looks like he's making some skach for a sukkah. And on the right-hand side, you can see, if you just walk down the street, there's all their wares and everything that they're selling in the street. And it gets really, really busy. On the right-hand side, this is right in the center of Mumbai. It's kind of a splash pool, but it is filthy, dirty, smells like you can't believe. And it's full of sewage, but people still swim in there and they actually drink that water. So we saw people walking around and collecting water and actually drinking it. It can make you actually very sick when you actually see them do this. Here again, just typical through Mumbai itself, people just walking around. The building that you see on the right-hand side actually belongs to one single person. He's got a family of about 4, but his staff that work for him take up 2 floors in this building and they work there permanently for him. This is the monument for Mahatma Gandhi. So you'll see a statue of or a bust of him on the left-hand side, and then you see the monument for him on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, this is our tour guide. He was a great guy, a Jewish guy. Interesting when we talked to him and we just like found out about, being Jewish in a place like India and looking like an Indian, how does he feel about things? And he told us, their life is very Indian, more Indian than Jewish. Even on a Friday night when they sit down to eat, they sit on the floor and they serve on the floor. But only when they have visitors, that's when they will actually sit at a table and have a proper meal. This is a picture just of us overlooking Mumbai from one of the hills. What you see here, this is one of the textile markets. So they have markets maybe just for textiles or food or fruits and things. And again, you'll see how the people just sit on their haunches. They don't sit on chairs. They're all sitting around doing their work. The guy in the middle there is doing his bookkeeping. And that's how they actually conduct their work themselves during the day. Again, if you have a look just down this textile market, you just see the beautiful colors. It's just, everything is just so colorful. And the people themselves are very, very friendly. So as you're walking past, they will greet you, they will talk to you, and they really, really make you feel welcome. This is the fruit market. Here you can see how the guy actually sits there and puts his fruit out, and he's selling his fruit from there. So it's very, very different to what we used to see. These are just pictures of the buildings around Mumbai. You'll see a lot of them are old, dilapidated. You'll also see the contrast here where you have the new modern buildings in the background, and in the front you have all these old dilapidated buildings. Just a closer view, and again, you'll see washing, everything just hanging out the windows, and this overlooks one of the main highways. Another couple of pictures. Okay, they have a lot of these guys around. They actually take the wax out of the ears, and people just go. You see them just busy all the time. Mumbai itself has a lot of cultures, but one of them is the symbol of the cow. Now, not to be mistaken, I think a lot of people feel that or understand that the cow is actually a Hindu god, but it's actually not. It's a sacred animal to them, and that's why they don't want anybody to eat the poor cow. So they really frown upon anybody who actually eats the cow meat. So we went to the Chabad for dinner, and we thought we'd get a meat meal, and they clearly told us that they're out of respect for the actual Hindus, they actually don't serve meat at all. You'll see this cow here is nicely dressed up. They actually have a cow day, and that's here. It'll be on the 19th of November, and they go around and they find all these cows all over the show. They wash them, they feed them, and they dress them all up. Now we try to get a picture with a cow, and the guy said to us clearly, you cannot take a picture, but if you stand with the cow and you put your hand on his head and you give the cow a blessing, we'll then allow you to take a picture. Anyway, we decided we're not going for that, so we didn't get the picture. On the right-hand side, you'll see it's what they call the Tower of Silence. In Mumbai, they have a sect called the Parsi community. And these guys don't believe in proper burial. So if somebody dies, they put the bodies in this actual tower, and they leave them there for a couple of months so the sun dries out the bones. And then you get the vultures that fly around and start to eat the flesh from the people. And then after about a year, they then wash the bones in like a type of lime. And once that's all done, it goes through a filter, and all the water then goes into the sea. So India is synonymous for what they call the Dharawali slums, the Dharavi slums. Here's a picture from the top. Now this slum, if you have a look at it, this is about 2.1 kilometers, and there's over 1 million people that live in the slum. These slums were started, it goes back quite a few years. It goes back to 1884 when the British arrived, and they wanted to get the factories and the workers out of the actual cities, and they pushed them into the slums. These slums themselves, there's a lot of industry in the slums. So you will find they're making pottery, they're making leather garments, they're making leather goods. So you get a make of a bag called Tumi, which is a famous bag. You'll see those have been made in the slums. They reckon they generate over $1 billion of turnover in these slums. Here's just a picture walking through. You can see how narrow they are. This is a strange picture on the right-hand side. There was a Magan David that was actually burnt. You'll see the pictures of these actual slum, of the places where they live. They're tiny. They are exceptionally small. I just want to show you here, the one on the left-hand side. Now, they clearly asked us not to take pictures, but like anything else, you always want to try and sneak a picture here and there. And this is, you can see a guy on the left-hand side. This is in an industry there where he's making textiles. On the picture on the right-hand side, you can see again, they save as much space as they can. So to get from the ground floor to the next floor, they have these very steep ladders that they go up. Now, these Indians also have this culture that you don't walk with shoes in your home. So if you walk past, you'll see shoes outside all of these places. Amazingly, nobody pinches the shoes. I think if it was here in South Africa, I don't think you'd see shoes there for too long. But here, there's the shoes are left outside, and the people then go inside and sleep. And again, you'll see how they decorate the outside, all the colors again. So when I walked through there, I bumped into these youngsters, and they were playing cricket. And then I had a chat to them. And then when I told them I'm from South Africa, they got really excited. And I mean, cricket's like their whole life. So they asked me to come and join them and have a game of cricket with them. And I really like just to enjoy talking to them. I've always had this desire to go to India and to go to an IPL and like really spend time with them. After my trip, I've decided that's not something I'd like to do. There's just too many people, too crowded. I don't think it'd be a great experience to get to a stadium where you're going to just find these 50, 60, 70,000 people. Some more just pictures in the slum. You'll see again how things change when you're on the outside of the slum. You'll see very nicely how it's nicely paved. It's all very, very clean. As you start to move in the slum, then you start to see the actual dirt and the filth and everything else around. You'll see, and it's crazy because you have these very narrow driveways, but there you will find trucks and vehicles and everything moving through there. What is a big industry for them is the pottery. So you have the guys there working, making pots and selling to all over the world. They're one of the biggest exporters of pots. On the left-hand side, you'll see what it looks like typically inside one of these homes that they live in, exceptionally small. On the right-hand side, you'll see again having a nice snooze, certainly not wanting to do any work. These are just pictures again of how the slums look. Now, the first part we saw was part of the industrial side where they manufacture goods. Where we see what we're seeing here is part of the recycling, and this is really where they work with stuff that smells, and it wasn't a great experience to walk through this part of the slum. You can see on the left-hand side all the raw materials and stuff that they use. It was quite upsetting because they showed us inside the actual buildings, they have these refugees working, and they in the recycling of plastics, and it smells and it lets off these fumes, and they said they don't last more than maybe 2 or 3 years. They actually die of lung diseases because of the places that they work in. It's just a closer picture to see how the people actually work in here. Okay. The next thing we also talk about, we saw, is what they call the Dhobi Ghat. So the Dhobi Ghat is a 140-year-old open laundromat. The washers are known as dhobis, and they work outside doing the washing and the cleaning. Can I just mute this person? Sorry. So what you see here is how they do this washing every day. Now they do most of the work for most of their hotels, for the hospitals. So nearly every bit of dirty clothing that is washed comes through the Dhobi Ghat. I don't think Wendy was too happy when she heard that the hotel actually does send their stuff to the Dhobi Ghat for washing as well. Because when you look at it, it actually doesn't look very hygienic. This is just a closer view. And again, you look on the left-hand side here, you see a little kid there. He's helping to do the washing. Stuff is just hung up in the sun. Everything, it's amazing how everything is tagged and marked. And they say that they make 0 mistakes. So it's quite impressive of how this actually operates. Here on the left-hand side, you'll see the bars. They separate them in the different colors. So you'll have the blues and the reds and the whites. And they say, again, when they get something to wash, it comes back really clean, nothing runs. and you will get what you gave them, you will get back. Just another view of the Derby Gate. And again, a picture of us overlooking the Derby Gate. So this was my favorite. So being in the logistics business, we have what they call the Dabbawalas. And what the Dabbawalas do, it's they like a messenger service. And because the trains are so full in the morning, people who are going to work, and it's mainly the men, cannot take their lunch with them to work. They just cannot get on the train with the lunch. So they use the services of these Dabbawalas. And what they do is they fetch the meal, they deliver it, and they come back and fetch the empty plates and everything, and they take it back to from where they got it. They tell me they do about 100,000 deliveries in a day. They've done millions over the years, and they haven't made one single mistake. Here's just a picture again with them and how they sort everything out. Also amazing is that most of these are totally illiterate, so they can't really read or write, yet they're able to do what they have to do. What I'm going to do now, I just want to show you a quick video of how it actually works.
If you visit Mumbai, you are bound to notice the Dabbawalas. You may not realize this, but the Dabbawalas are a very important part of life in Mumbai. They are the ones who make sure that nearly 200,000 people get their lunch in time at their offices or schools every day from home. Their operations are so efficient that world personalities like Prince Charles and Richard Branson have visited them. They have been invited for lectures at business schools. They are even said to be Six Sigma compliant. Now what is a dabba? A dabba is simply a tiffin box carrying home-cooked food, which is to be delivered from the home to a person in an office or a school. And the dabbawala is a person who picks up the food from the home and ensures that it is delivered to the right office to the right person on time.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम रघुनाथ धोंडेवा मेदगे हूँ। मैं डब्बावाला एसोसिएशन का प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। हमारी डब्बा का सर्विस 1890 से शुरू है। हमारे टोटल 5000 मेंबर्स बम्बई में कार्यरत है।
It all may sound fairly simple, but imagine doing this in one of the most densely populated cities in the world.
Sorry, can you not see the video?
No.
Nothing at all? Okay.
You can just hear.
That's strange.
Yeah, the
Okay.
sound is clear.
No, that's strange. Can you give me 1 minute? Otherwise, I'll come back to it. Okay, I'll come back to it afterwards. Okay, now we get to the religious part of the tour. So there are 3 different sects of Jews in India. They have what we call the Bnei Israel. Bnei Israel arrived in India about 2,000 years ago. The legend is that King Solomon sent them to find ivory monkeys and peacock feathers, and they were shipwrecked and remained in Mumbai. They were given the status of being Jewish by the Beth Din of Israel. Then you have what they call the Baghdadi Jews. These are former community Jewish migrants that descended from Baghdad and elsewhere in the Middle East. And they are, as I said, called traditionally the Baghdadi Jews. Then you have the Kochini Jews. So they come from a place called Kochi. It's a city southwest of India, but we actually didn't go there. It was a bit far for us to go. In India now, in Mumbai, there are over 10 shuls, and they're all operational, even though there's only like 1,500 Jews around. So the first shul I wanted to show you is the Magen David synagogue. This was built by the Baghdadi Jews. It is believed to be one of the oldest in the city. It was built by a guy by the name of David Sassoon. And he built the shul in 1861, and his family then moved to Mumbai, and they all lived in Mumbai. His relative, Sir Jacob Sassoon, built a school next door, and that was the Jewish school. With all the Jews moving out, that is now turned into a school still run by the Jewish Trust, but most of the students there are Muslims, a few Catholics, and 0 Jews. If you go there, you'll still see the mezuzah on the front door. You'll still see some Jewish pictures, and you'll see them right next to the pictures of Yoshka and a few other things. The Sassoon families were philanthropists and made a huge contribution to the Mumbai by building the schools, libraries, and cultural centers, not only for Jews, obviously, but for everybody else. Just a few pictures of inside. Now, when I came there, I was really upset because I just arrived when they had finished reading the Torah, and I would have actually liked to be there, and even if I would have gotten Aliyah, I would have felt even happier. Just picture inside. So what they do to get a million every day, they offer a free breakfast. So if you come to davening, you get breakfast, and they get a really good crowd of people that actually come to the morning davening. That's just a picture of the statue of David Sassoon. The next shul is the Knesset Eliyahu synagogue. Again, a Bnei Yisrael shul. This one as well, built by, this one was also built by the Sassoons. Let's see what else I can see on this. Well, there's the story goes that there was a Bnei Yisrael man belonging to the 6th Battalion, and he was taken as a prisoner by the Muslims. And he said that if he ever gets set free, he will build a shul. And he was set free, and he actually built the shul. When we were there, they were busy renovating the shul. I believe now that the shul has been renovated, and it's really turned into a very, very nice shul. A picture from the inside. This one in the middle is not my picture. This is after the renovation. But everything is seen here is teak wood. It really, really looks smart. Just a picture, obviously, of the Aron Kodesh. So this is just the Jewish cemetery. And again, the cemetery was built by Elias David Sassoon. His son died in Shanghai, and he decided to build a cemetery for them. Now, this cemetery is still operational. But it is there are obviously not many Jews there, so obviously not many are dying. It's very overgrown and not well looked after at all. The next shul is the Shar Hashaim synagogue. It's known as the Gates of Heaven synagogue, and this one now is a Bnei Yisrael shul. If you have a look on the right-hand side, you'll see the shamas. He was waiting at the door, letting people in. And if you look at him, he certainly doesn't look anything like being Jewish. This is just a picture from inside the shul. Again, these shuls are really beautiful. There again in the background, you can see the shamas. He's watching us. His question, he asked, if you're Jewish, then you get to light one of the candles. And he asked if I'm Jewish. I said yes, and he looked at me, and I thought he must have thought to himself, hey, you don't look Jewish to me. But eventually we lit the candle, and they then hoist it up, and that's where you have the light. Again, you look at the Aron Kodesh, look how beautiful it is. It's really well carved out, also teak wood, very, very nice. Most of the shul is lit up with candles, so here you can see how the candle is hoisted up, and then it's the light for the day. The next shul we went to is the Tiferet Yisrael shul. This is the Bnei Yisrael shul. Now, this shul was built by a guy by the name of Benjamin Ashtamakar and Eliyahu Joseph Bastakar. Now, why I'm telling you the names, because everybody who belongs to the shul or to the sect, his surname ends with a K-A-R. So you'll know exactly which shul you belong to by knowing your surname. This shul has been going as well since 1886, and it's still a very well operational shul, still going very, very strong. They hold regular services. They get a minyan for Shachrit, for Mincha, and for Mariv every single day. In the late 2013, I don't know where they actually came from, but there were two Americans from New York who decided to donate a Sefer Torah and donated a lot of the silverware, which is now in the shul. Here you just see the Chanukiah that has been put up, also very, very nice. This guy, yeah, he's also a Mr. Kandlakar. He's the third generation of the Kandlakar, so it's his ancestors who actually built and ran the shul. And here you see the actual Sefer Torah that was donated and came from Israel. On the left-hand side, you see again all the beautiful silverware that was donated and what they have. He was really so excited to have visitors and show us around. He sat down and he kept us there for quite a while and explained exactly how everything works in Ishul. Here are some of the other the Jewish ladies. And again, you have to decide, are they Jewish or not? Because they certainly don't look Jewish, especially if you look at them compared to Wendy, very, very different, but very, very nice people. Here's just a picture of the whole shul itself. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see this absolutely beautiful brass tamid looking over the Aron Kodesh. Now they have a functional mikveh. I'm not sure how many ladies they actually have in there, but it is functional and it works very well. This mikveh was inaugurated by the late rabbi, the Chabad rabbi, in 2003 again, and that's when he actually arrived in Mumbai. Okay, the Chabad of Mumbai. So here's a picture of this. This Rabbi Holzberg, when he arrived in Mumbai, his task was to actually find a place for the Chabad there. And he went out and he raised the money himself and he fixed up the building, and that's where the Chabad were housed. Here's just a picture of the actual shul on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you'll just see a plaque in memory of the late rabbi and all the martyrs and people who were killed during the attack at the shul. Here you can just see some of the graphic photos. They've left it as it was. Now, generally, they don't allow people to come and look at it, but we asked the rabbi nicely. We actually sat and had a good chat to him, and eventually he said, it's fine, you guys can go have a look, because they said what they were going to do and what they have done is to turn it into a museum. So in the meantime, he wasn't that keen to let us go, but he did. It's quite amazing though, because when we were sitting and talking to him, he was telling us a story that while this whole attack was going on, he was sitting at home and they were glued to their radios and their TVs and everything else to see what's happening. And he said he never thought in a million years that he would be the next Chabad rabbi to land up in Mumbai. I looked at him and I thought to myself, hey, I never thought in a million years I'd actually come here and actually see the place. So for me, it was like very eerie to be there, but very happy that we actually went and saw it. This is left as it was, so you can see how badly it was all shot up. Just another view of where they attacked them. Another one in the room. So bearing in mind that the shul was in the building as well as their home, so that's where they lived, and that's their whole life was there. This was quite sad. This was from the kids' room. Moshe, he's the son that got out, and on the left you can see she had a growth chart, and she would every month go and chart his growth, and until the day happened. Here's just a picture of the Prime Minister of India together with Benjamin Netanyahu. And this is a little guy, Moshe. And on the right-hand side is the maid that saved him. Now, the maid actually went with him to Israel. She was married at the time, went to Israel, was given the status of the Gentiles amongst the righteous, and she then got divorced, but for no other reason, that their marriage was not going well before, and she has since returned to India. The Taj Mahal Palace, okay, so here's just a picture of the front side as you enter. This is, again, a hive of activity in front. This was also attacked by the terrorists when they attacked Mumbai. And inside the hotel, they have the memorial plaques, and they have candles for each and every person that was killed in the hotel. We decided that we would treat ourselves, so we actually stayed in the hotel. It was quite an experience. I mean, even just when you arrive, there's a whole ceremony before they actually let you in, and they throw all these petals and everything over you, and then you go into the hotel. Here's just a picture, a view from our room of the actual swimming pool and the whole area. And on the left-hand side, after a really hard day's touring, nothing better than to jump in a swimming pool and have a good swim. Okay, thank you everyone for listening. I hope giving you a little bit of understanding of Mumbai and the cultures and a bit of the Jewish history. I just want to see, if you don't mind, if I could just quickly get the video to work. Yeah.
While you're doing that, just Steve, thank you. That was mind-blowing. It was incredible. I think it's truly enticing. I think we should make a trip. If you're keen to anybody make a trip for Steve to be our tour guide, Mumbai, here we come. That was really, it was mind-blowing. I have my kids around me looking at these incredible pictures. So just thank you so much. That was very, very special.
Great. Yeah. Also, as I said, I found this one of the most amazing cities that we've been to, and just so much Jewish history that we didn't know existed. We absolutely didn't know this existed. I just wanted to see if this is going to play. If not,
if you visit Mumbai, you are bound to notice the Dabbawalas.
Can you see the pictures?
You may not realize this, but the Dabbawalas are very.
You need to screen share.
They are the ones who make sure that nearly 200,000 people get their lunch in time at their offices or schools every day from home. Their operations are so efficient. All personalities like Prince Charles and Richard Branson have visited them. They have been invited for lectures at business schools. They are even said to be Six Sigma compliant. Now, what is a dabba? A dabba is simply a tiffin box carrying home-cooked food, which is to be delivered from the home to a person in an office or a school. And the dabbawala is a person who picks up the food from the home and ensures that it is delivered to the right office to the right person on time.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम रघुनाथ धोंडीवा मेदगे हूँ। मैं डब्बावाला।
I know. I'm just trying to see if I just stop it and redo it again quickly.
There's a new thing with the sharing. It takes a bit of a while. You've got to find the right setting for the sharing. I had the same issue with some videos earlier.
Okay, I'll just fiddle around and see if I can just get it to work quickly.
So, Steve, while you're fiddling around, can we get some questions going?
Yep, we can.
Can I start? I've got two questions. The first one was, you were saying that the sea in Goa, is not so lacquer to go swimming in because you don't really know what's in there. Do the tourists swim there?
So it's an interesting one. We were told not to swim, but when we went to the actual beach, it was packed mainly with Germans and Europeans. But we were actually told not to go swim. I have to be honest though, when we stood by where I took that photo, you could actually smell not a great smell coming out of the sea. So.
And then my other question was, you were saying that you spoke to those kids playing cricket. How's their English? Are they fluent in English? Do they learn English at school?
So those could talk. They actually could communicate, and I was amazed at their knowledge of the South African cricket team because they knew all the players. They named them one by one and told me what they do and what positions they play, and are they bowlers, are they batters. Ooh,
if you manage a team,
sorry.
you have to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform to track everything your team is working on.
Stephen, how did you guys eat?
So there's two things. So as I said, when we had our big suitcases, we take a lot of food with us, and then we pray that we don't get stopped at customs and that we can actually get in. And we also relied a little bit on Chabad. So a lot of our traveling, we spend a lot of time with Chabad because, they make life a lot easier. So we are able to get food. So that's why when we went to the Chabad and we thought, we're going to get ourselves a meat meal, all we got was chicken. Yeah, we had enough chicken with us. So, yeah. And also, depending on the countries, some of them have a lot of OU products. So we are able to buy a lot of stuff.
Steve?
Yeah.
Stephen, can you hear me?
I can.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very enlightening. It was really lovely. I just want to know, what were those little red dots you and Wendy were wearing over your nose when you landed at the airport and I had to take you home? You had little dots on your head and you kept wearing it all the time. I don't know what they are.
So we got that at the hotel. When we checked in, we had to get, they did do the dots. They actually made it. Yeah, but they did with like water. They came and they put a little dot on and they threw a bit of water on us. It was it was like a whole ceremony.
Why did you remove it? It looked so good.
Big mistake.
Steve, can I ask a question out of interest? There seem to be lots of blue in the shawls. Do you know, I mean, it just was quite striking. Is there any significance when it comes to all the blue? Do you know?
No, I actually don't know that. I did notice that though, inside and outside.
And that sort of light blue, that sky blue, I would just,
So maybe I'll answer that. You'll actually find in many, even in Tzfat, you'll actually find many of the shuls have that very similar color. I'm not when I once did a tour, one of the tour guides once made the following thing. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but what he said is that that you have the blue strings of the Tchelet on tzitzit is also a very light blue, that when you wear tzitzit, it's that color that reminds you of the sea, that reminds you of the sky, that reminds you of Hashem. So a lot of their blue, what he explained is that a lot of that blue is the same color of the Tchelet, that and therefore a lot of their shuls were like that to almost remind them of Hashem. So it was a very Sephardi type of thing. A lot of the Sephardi shuls have that blue, and he said that the reason for it is to remind us of like that Tchelet that we have on our tzitzit, to remind us of Hashem. Don't know if it's true or not. Yeah.
Interesting, thanks.
That makes sense. Okay, anybody else have any
Are there any other questions? Or we can announce next week's and the draw. Ooh, I'm so excited.
So over to me. So first, before we start with the draw, I just want to announce next week's the next 2 weeks talks. So next week we're going to have an informative talk about what rights and responsibilities you have as an employer of a domestic worker. So it's a talk that basically will assist you with all your rights and the domestic workers' rights and the responsibilities that you have. And the following week thereafter, we've got our branding and marketing genius, Karen Scher, and she's going to give us a talk with the topic to be announced. So at the moment, she's being mysterious about it, but we will announce it. The draw tonight has been very generously sponsored by Steven Segal, so we want to thank you. And it's a 280 Rand voucher for Burger and Brew. For those of you who don't know, they make the most delicious vegetarian burger. So if you want to keep with the Indian theme and not eat a cow, they've got the most delicious Beyond Burger. So I'm just going to call Adam, who wanted to do the draw. And just again to remind everybody, like last week, the way that we do the draw is basically I make a list of everybody that attended, and I put everything in a cap, and one of the children draws the cap, which has a number. Adam, please come. And tonight's lucky winner is number.
Let me look.
What number?
Let me look first.
What number, Ed? Come on.
Heather Saxon.
Heather Saxon. Heather, do you want to just come on the screen?
You wouldn't want to see what I look like right now, but thank you very much. That's too stunning. And it's one of my favorite places. Love it. Thank you so much. Thanks,
well,
Steve.
I hope that
and
you
I
really enjoy. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much for sponsoring tonight's mystery prize. And I just want to close by saying that Aideen and I have really been enjoying putting together these coffee club evenings. And if there's anyone in our community that's interested in giving a talk, can just contact Aideen or myself on our cell phones, and we'll definitely set it up. And one more exciting bit of news, I have set up a YouTube channel, an OSS Coffee Club YouTube channel, and I will post the link on the ladies group and on the Awesome Mouth No Chatter group. And if you've missed any of the talks, we've uploaded all the talks, except one. Ryan Davis's talk didn't seem to download, the very first talk, so we're going to have Ryan come back and give us another talk. But otherwise, Aideen and I just want to really thank everybody, and we've had such wonderful speakers and such wonderful topics. And for November, just to whet your appetite, we've got really incredible speaker that is lined up, but we're not going to tell you who it is yet. But everybody is going to be blown away by this particular speaker. So that's it from me. I'm gonna keep quiet and just let everyone else speak. So thank you so much.
Okay, now I was going to try once more if we can see this video. Okay, so it's really a 2-minute video.
If you visit Mumbai, you are bound to notice the Dabbawalas. You may not realize this, but the Dabbawalas are a very important part of life in Mumbai. They are the ones who make sure that nearly 200,000 people get their lunch in time at their offices or schools every day from home. Their operations are so efficient that world personalities like Prince Charles and Richard Branson have visited them. They have been invited for lectures at business schools. They are even said to be Six Sigma compliant. Now, what is a dabba? A dabba is simply a tiffin box carrying home-cooked food, which is to be delivered from the home to a person in an office or a school. And the dabbawala is a person who picks up the food from the home and ensures that it is delivered to the right office to the right person on time.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम रघुनाथ धोंडेवा मेदगे हूँ। मैं डब्बावाला एसोसिएशन का प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। हमारी डब्बा का सर्विस 18 से 90 से शुरू है। हमारे टोटल 5000 मेंबर्स मुंबई में कार्यरत है।
It all may sound fairly simple, but imagine doing this in one of the most densely populated cities in the world. The dabbawalas have high rates of accuracy and their error rates are shockingly 1 in a million only. And what is even more impressive, that all the dabbawalas are fairly illiterate and have no use of any technology. The only motorized transport used is the Mumbai local trains. Other than that, they make use of hand-drawn carts and bicycles.
मेरी ग्रुप की साइकिल है, अंधेरी स्टेशन में मैं छोड़ के जाता हूँ, तो मैं दूसरे ग्रुप की साइकिल डिलीवरी के पॉइंट पे यूज करता हूँ और मेरी साइकिल वो लोग यूज करते हैं.
The dabbas or the lunch boxes have a color coding scheme which makes sure that they get to the right destination. The structure of this organization is fairly flat. It has just 3 levels. First, the governing body. Second, the team leads or the supervisors. And third, the dabbawalas. And everyone is an equal shareholder in this organization. There are no bosses and the earnings are equally divided.
हर एक बंदा का काम टीम के लिए करना है. अगर एक बंदा कम काम करेगा तो पूरी टीम की इनकम सोर्स लो हो जाती है.
All the dabbawalas come from the same Warkari sect, and whenever any replacement is required, villages that have this Warkari sect are approached for suitable candidates. To join this organization as a dabbawala, the dabbawalas have to bring a few things: a long wooden crate, 2 bicycles, and ₹20 for a Gandhi cap that they wear. And how much do you think would it cost to avail of this very efficient dabba service? Less than $10 a month. While the operations are fairly simple, the dabbawalas are now beginning to work with newer technologies. You can SMS them or you can also log on to their site mydabbawala.com to avail of their services.
अभी लंदन में भी प्रिंस चार्ल्स की शादी में जाकर आया हूँ. इटली में 2 बार जाने का मौका हमें मिला है. बहुत मैगजीन ने भी हमारी रिसर्च की थी. BBC ने भी डॉक्यूमेंट्री वहाँ बना के दी थी. हमारे ऊपर देखते हैं कि इनको क्यों ना 6 सिग्मा देना चाहिए. हमें तो पता ही नहीं 6 सिग्मा क्या है.
And given their reach in Mumbai, Microsoft has also partnered with the dabbawalas. The dabbawalas distributed leaflets and wore Microsoft branded clothes to spread awareness of genuine Windows softwares to their customers.
5,000 बम्बई के डब्बे वाले 4 लाख टिफिन का ट्रांजैक्शन पर डे लोकल ट्रेन से, साइकिल से और मैन पावर की वजह से कर रहे हैं.
I'm Premjit Singh, showing you Mumbai.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that. As I said, to me, these were really special people. I really enjoyed the interaction with them.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Steve. I think it's something good for value logistics. I think they could learn quite a lot from this. It could be quite an interesting exercise.
Absolutely.
And you can head it to go and live in Mumbai.
Yeah. And I just got an interesting WhatsApp message from Ivan Hollander to say that his son Darren had actually spent the Shabbos at the Chabad with the rabbi the week before the massacre. So it must be like quite special, but also like frightening, because I mean 1 week later it's a whole different story. Okay.
Thanks so much. It was excellent.
Enjoy it. Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah,
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. That was awesome.
Thank you.
In fact, Aideen, I think your father and I spoke very often. We were walking out from shul about going to India and going to an IPL. And I missed it by about 3 weeks. But as I said to you, once I got there, there was no ways that I was getting that crowd and going, this wasn't going to happen.
We're still going together, make no mistake.
Hey, we are.
Hey, Stevie.
Yeah. We go when it's COVID, so there's nobody at the stadium.
Once it's over, we go watch the Mumbai Indians. That would be great.
Do you want to go for a swim in that lake as well?
Yeah, I'll take the medicines with. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you,
So
Stevie,
lovely.
for lovely talk.
Okay.
And lovely to see everybody.
And thanks for everybody for attending. It's so nice to share the experiences with someone. Oh, not someone, with a lot of people. So yeah, thank you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, thanks. And I think she's left, but I see that Nechama and Shimi are there or were there. So also thank you so much for being there.
Right.
Okay, good night.
Okay.
I'm here. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Oh, you are there, Nechama. So,
Thank you.
welcome back. Nechama's just got back from America. Oh, thanks for being here. How was